Right, hello. Just out here farting around in my bleeding shed again with this tailgate. Now, last time I'd done all the underside, so that's all now ready to rock and roll. And then I found them all rust up in the top here. So, what I want to do first, before I cut all this out, is I'm going to make myself a little paper template, just so as I've got some reference. I've got the other side, but it's obviously opposite, which is a pain in the arse. So all I want to do is get a bit of paper and gently sort of form it in with me fingies, and it don't matter if it folds and whatever, because I can stick that with see where that fold is there now. I'll just fold it over and I'll use masking tape just to hold it all together. So I'm going to give it a rough old go over there, like that. Then I'll get a bit of masking tape and I'll just stick it on a little bit to hold it in place. Go over that side here. This is just purely for reference, and I could do some measurements off it because I can straighten it out once I've marked it. So good to have dirty fingers as well, because you get that nice dirt mark on there. But that inside bit there, I might do that with a pencil. So I'm just going to scribe that round, and that'll give me an idea where I've got to fold it when I fold the steel. And I'll cut that out all nicely, and then there's that other little edge up the top there, but we'll worry about it after. Put a bit more tape on these fold marks there, with that, stop it undoing. And then I might, where the creases are there, put another bit there. It's just to hold it all in place, eh? Bit on there like that. I could put a bit on that, right on that line, I suppose, you know. Make it a bit easier for me to see it. And again, I'll just scribe around there with a pencil so I know exactly where the edge is. That's where I'll measure to when I fold it. It's a bit of a complex little bit, this, so I want to get it as good as possible. And then I'm gonna, so on the edge there I've got this, a sort of a return, the bend, and there's a little tiny return there, and then it bends up, it's like curved, and then it flattens out again. So I'm gonna cut this steel back after that bend, so I'm gonna mark that around here somewhere, just so I know how much material when I'm cutting out the bit of steel, how much to leave. But that's pretty good. I might even put a little bit more tape around there, just fold it in. Chuck some on the bottom there as well because it's gone through. Or I'll put a pencil on it. Never mind, eh? Could take the whole thing, it'd be nice and beefy then. We'll do that. We should do that. That should all hold it in place. So when I make my nice new bit, it should, with the wind in the right direction, hot. Might trim around this with a knife in a minute as well. Epoxy tape, hate that, look, comes undone on the wrong bit. Now then, I might go a little bit further because a bit of this has got pits in here up as well. Right up this edge, so we'll get up there. A little bit there. That's a bit better. Right, now we'll scribe around it because the pencil's got less chance of going through this masking tape. And then we'll get that nice line that I'm going to go to on the top. This is the biggest bit, is this curve, because the window rubber's going to get into there. So now I've got that, and I've got my mark here, and my mark there. So when I cut this out, I might even do this little trick here where you just trace around using your fingers, just to keep the same distance-ish. I'll freehand that bit. Now I'll cut it out with a pair of scissors and lay it back over there and make sure it's going to fit in it. Right, so let's just get a bloody thing in the right place-ish. So the stupid boxy bloody camera stands. How about if I just take it out like that, fuck it. Right. So we've got that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple of reference points on here. So one up here and one up here, just so I know exactly where where I've taken the template from. But now I've got that. That is pretty much. I'll unstick it. That's what I've got to make. So I can now measure that, because it's thin paper. I'll get a better idea, because with steel, the steel I'm using is about, I don't know, mil thick, something like that, 1 millimetre. So every time you fold it, obviously you either gain or lose some material. So with this paper, I should be able to get a better idea. So I shall stick that back on, draw on a couple of reference points with a pencil, then I can cut this old bit of crap out here and offer this back in, and then I know I've got to make that exactly, and we should have a nice fitting piece of repair patch. Obviously I could have bought a new tailgate, as I said before, but where's the fun in that? You know, anyone can do that, can't they? But not everybody can do this, unless you've got a little bit of time and a little bit of willing to learn. But yeah, eventually we're going to do pretty much all the way up that side there. It'll be the same thing, but that's a much easier panel to make because it hasn't got the curve in it. So for the curve, I'll just bring you over here. Follow me. So I've got my shrinker and stretcher here. So this one here is your stretcher. So that pretty much pulls the metal. It pushes down and pulls the metal like that. That's stretched, and then the other one is a shrinker. So that is that bit there, that's pulling that in. So with that curve I've got to do a couple of bites on that, then switch it around and do a couple of bites on that, and then keep going backwards and forwards very gently, otherwise you'll tear the material as well. With the stretching anyway, you'll tear it. So I've got to do it very, very gently, and we should get a repair panel. By the way, these were hand operated, but I've only got 2 hands, so if you're holding a bit of material in there and trying to stretch it at the same time, you only get 1 hand to manipulate. So I just knocked this up, just a little foot operated one, like, so you can, pretty simple to adapt. You can buy them already like that, but they're quite expensive, so I made it because I can. And then just here is my folder, so that's where we'll fold everything in there. And this crap will move out of the way. That's out of a tiny house from outside. Need a clean up, don't I? Also got this as well for putting shapes and stuff in as well. But we may use that, we may not, don't know. Right, so there's my reference marks. Got 3 or 4 of them around there. They're quite important because this can move about. It's like it can slide on that curve. I've glued it down, but yeah, it can. So that's where it was taped and marked. So that's what I've marked on there. So when I make my new bit, hopefully she'll all go in there hunky-dory. We won't see until I've made it. Now, I'll cut out a bit of metal for that, and then I'll mark it. I'll probably fold that profile first. So I'll fold that edge where the rubber goes around and this bit first, and I'll end up with a flat long piece. That will open out, and then shrink it and stretch it until I hopefully get that shape, like that. Now I did have a little practice on another piece yesterday, but I didn't film it. But I didn't even measure that. I just cut a bit and farted around with it. And you see there, I was a bit overzealous with it, and I just stretched it too much, and it ripped. But even though I didn't really measure it or anything, it's actually pretty close. So if I take a bit of time, I should get it bob on. One more thing, if I was a clever bastard, what I would do is I can make this corner, yes, and I can measure all that shit up and get it all in the right place and make that bit. Then I'm gonna have to repeat it up here. So what I think I will do is I will measure the whole length of this rubbish, so from wherever it becomes good, which is about there, all the way down there and around there to where it becomes good again. And I'll make that whole piece, and then I'll just cut this section off to manipulate. I could do it in one whole bit. Maybe I might do that as well, we'll see. But yeah, I might as well make the profile, because it's going to be the same up here as it is down here. So I might as well make that profile piece, and it's going to save me a lot of shit, isn't it? Right, hopefully my new camera's working. My special best going out Chinese camera came the other day, so and it comes with a remote control, so I am the cameraman as well, and I can zoom in. Come on, you bastard. And then zoom out again from here and turn it on and offable, which is freaking awesome. Anyway, I'll leave that bit there, but I need to measure this crap here. See how much metal I need, so nice handy. I've got a sheet of steel here, which is 1.8 long, so that's cool. So what I'll do is I shall pull this little template off, and I'm just going to measure with a steel rule, which I'll go and get in a minute over there. I'll measure that, leave myself a little bit of extra. I'll scribe it across there with a vernier, because they're bloody good for doing that. They're not supposed to, because it probably makes them not so accurate, but anyway. I'll use that to scribe across, then I shall cut that with an angle grinder, get myself that strip, then I can mark on all these little bends, and hopefully we can bend a little bit up and see what it looks like. So I shall go and get my vernier and get on with this. So I've got my steel rule, and that is, well, it's just under 50 millimetres. It's about 49. I should probably put my spectacles on for it, but yeah, 49 mil. That first bend is about 12 mil. 12 mil, and then that one there is about 10, and that's whatever's left over. If you're good at maths, you can work it out. So I'm going to cut that sheet at 50, and that'll give me a little bit of wiggle room with it. So I shall mark that now with my vernier, turn him on, get him out of 50, which is about there, plus or minus 0.04 of a millimetre. Ish. That'll do. I'll lock it off, and then this is what I do, is I'll just put that edge on there, and then I use that to scribe across. mark there, which is fantastic. And then what I could do, because this is obviously a factory edge from when the steel's made, is I can do that first fold, which will be 12 mil. So again, I'm going to set my little vernier up to 12. It's actually more than that, it's 13.61. So I shall mark that, and when I do this I'm going to have to mark each side, sorry, the right side, because the bend will be the opposite side, so I need to make sure that when I put my marks on, I do one this side and then I do one the other side. So when I put it in the folder I can see the bleeding line. But that's me 13.6, so we'll do that one first. Like that. Now the next one is that plus the other bit. So I'll just open it up. I've turned it off. Hang on, you bastard. I shall do that, which is .24 mil roughly. Yeah, 24 millimeters. I'll lock that off and then I'll mark that on this side. You can't see that, so tough shit. That's my other bend. Now I'll get the angle grinder. Right, going to make some noise. I won't do all this. I'll just do a little bit and then turn it off and come back to it when it's cut. Innit? Cut back when it's finished. And what you should do when you're using an angle grinder, obviously we're bleeding ear hole protection and eyeball protection, but more importantly, move your cup of tea from direct line of where all the oil filings are going to go, because you get a nice metallic-y tasting cup of tea. Lovely, isn't it? Oh. Bit gritty now. Come on. Well, that is cut, but now that's like a bleeding razor blade, that is, so I'll just get a file and just take that crap off there, or I might just go to my linear shear over there and just take that shit off, and then we can start making our bit, isn't it? And shit. Fucking plastic. Right, so I've just put a bit of metal just cut in here, and I've left the line just so I can see it a bit. Might give it a little donk. Just tap it in a little touch. So, not there. So I just see that line now, because it's just like it's about 1 mil thick, and yeah, I might lose a bit on the radius. So I'm going to bend this a little bit. Just see what comes out like. Don't want to bend too far because I don't think it's a perfect 90, so I'll go off of that up. I'll go off of that up and see what it's like, and I'll be back, isn't it? So the easiest way for me to check that angle is with my template, which is just here, which is stayed pretty good shape, and I'll just offer that up. Which way round does it go? Like that. So that's pretty close actually. With a bit of manipulation that should be alright. So what I might do now is pull the other bend in, which is going to be on the other side there. Now it's going to be a bit awkward because obviously the folder, when I put this in, it ain't got enough room to go through the back. and it's going to be trying to push against this, so it's going to unfold it a little bit, but I don't mind because I can manipulate it straight again, can't I? So I'll try and get it in there. Like that. And when I pull this down, it's going to try and bend it a little bit anyway. Do another pair of hands in there. Sometimes like this you wish you was a freaking octopus. But anyway, let's do that. It's already pulled that a little bit of the bend in there for me, so yeah. Again, I don't want to overdo it, so try before we bag. It looks pretty good. It does. So I might just go just a touch. No, I might leave that like that. Methinks. I might leave that like that. Or shall I just put it in there and give it one more little tweak? Just a little tiny bit. Do it. Might have overdone it. Might have overdone it a little bit, but no, by the time I pull that other bit, so remember I said I've got the other, there's another profile in it. Well, what I was going to do was this, which is just squish it a little bit, like that. And that's now put that shape in I wanted. So, next thing to do with this is to string it and stretch it, innit? So, I've already started this, didn't realise I've run out of bloody room on a card on the camera, because it must take a bit more high definition pictures than the other one. So it uses it in bleeding no time, which is a pain in the arse, so I might have to get another card for it. Anyway, but I've started doing this, so that's what I've got so far. So I've been obviously stretching with this one. Get in there, you bastard. Just gently pulling that around. And then shrinking it as well. But I don't want to go too much more than that because I think we're close. So with my template plate, which is just here, I think we're pretty close. Might need a little bit of a tweak, but yeah, we're about where we want to be. Looks good. So the next thing to do is just give this a little bit of a tap straight, which is a bit bended, and then I want to pull that line for it. So I'm going to have to set up my little gizmo over here and find the dies to pull that little tiny. I've drawn it on there. There's going to be a little tiny bend on here, just a little one, little tiny fold down, and then yeah, I can put that profile in there as well a little bit more, and I might just do that in the vise, just tweak it all the way along, just to get that curve. It's got a little one in there, but might need a little tiny bit more. But anyway, we're going to roll that in there first. So I shall set up my gizmo and have a go, innit? So I've just offered it up to the tailgate, so I've just got to do a little tiny bit more, and it's just probably a couple of degrees more, and then it's going to be all right. So I'll just shrink just a tiny bit more. stretchifying that. So I don't want to go too far. I think that I'll just straighten that out on the vice with a tapometer. Right, so I've not used this before. I bought it ages ago, and all I've done with it is used it to roll out bits of copper flat by turning their tools around the other way. So this is the first time I'm actually going to try and use it to do what it's supposed to do, or what I think it's supposed to do. Anyway, I won't practice on the proper bit, I'll practice on the offcut. So I need a bend. I need that to bend down just a tiny bit. I'm not sure which way it's going to go yet. I suppose we just try it, eh? See what happens. So that is bending it the wrong way. So I want to go up the other way like that. I don't know if I've got enough clearance, but we'll have a go anyway. We'll just keep it on that line there, and we'll pop him through just a little bit, see what happens. And that is pulling a funny shape in it, so I don't know if I want that. Maybe I'll take a bit of tension off of it. We'll try again. All I want to pull in is a tiny little bendy bit, maybe a little tiny bit more. Just lock it off there so it don't move. Let's try that again. Bit more trial and error. I think it's doing something, but not what I want. I might have a little play with it, see if I can get it. So after cocking around with that for a little while, I haven't really got the right tool in for it, so I think I need a different set of tools to get that little, like probably a 45 and a notch. I haven't got it, so I've just done it by hand. So I've used the folder and the vice, and I've now got a little bit of a profile in there. Can you see that? I don't know. Anyway, I can do a bit more manipulation when I cut the bit of steel off the back and try and fit this and just tweak it around a bit. But that will probably bleed in too. So the next thing is to go and mark where this goes and cut the old crap out in it. Right, so I've marked around there with a pencil, and I'm going to stay inside that line to the rust side, just so I don't take out too much crap. Right, so I'll video a little bit of this and I'll turn it off, and you'll come back and that'll be gone, and then we'll offer that bit in. So let's get my dangle grinder. Make some bleeding noise. Right, so cut that out now. I've just got to do a little bit more pissing around with this, but that goes in, and I've just got to trim it all up. But it's not too bad, but what I've got to do is just shrink and stretch this end, because it's got a slight curve in it. So I'll go and do that quickly, and I'll offer it up again in it. Right, so I've cut all the inner bit off of this as well now, or most of it. Got a couple, a little bit more to do, but now I can offer this in here like that. I can probably clamp that down, so I might get some mole grips and clamp them in. I might scribe around that and get the last couple of little bits of metal off that I need to get off, and then that should just sit in there nice. I'll just grab some hurry grips. manipulating stick. Onto the fluor. Don't lose that. It's magic box. Don't lose that. Now I've got my scriber. And I'll scriber in there. Right. So I've got my scriber. What I might do as well is find a marker pen. Just make it easier to see. Hold on a minute. Let's get one of them. Right, so I'll just go around with this blue marker. It's only gone and run out, isn't it? Bollocks. That's about as much good as a chocolate teapot, isn't it? So I'll throw that away. I'll go and find another one. And this is another one. Oh yeah. Just give me a better idea. Now, we'll scribe it. Marvellous. See what that's like. So that's how much material I've got to take off, which is a fair bit. 5mm in places, but that's alright. And then we should be able to scoop that right in its spot. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Yeah, so right, I shall cut that out. I might change to the air grinder, which is even more noisy than the other bleeding thing, so I might just do it and then come back. How's that sound? Right, so I've got all that gone now. Let's get that power again. And hopefully, it might be a little bit more fettling, but we should be able to butt that together. Tack him in. But I might not do that now, I might do it tomorrow. So there. But it's pretty good. Alright for a couple of hours work, I suppose, innit? But what I am going to do now before I shut up shop is I'm going to get the vacuum cleaner, get all the crap out of the gap there at the cavity, and then I'll give it a coat of rust killer, I think, and then a bit of primer. Shame I can't get to the other side, but what I will do once I finish this tailgate is fill it with, I think they call it fish oil over here, like wax oil, just down the sides. But yeah, it should be good, and I'll file that edge up, get all the razor blades off before I put that in as well. Other than that, it's looking good. So that's the last bit of rust repair on this tailgate, I believe, until I sandblast it. Right, so I've got some rust treatment primer, which is cool, and I'll just give that a little, I would if the nozzle was blocked, put the pain in the arch. Use that last, probably me. I'm going to find another nozzle. Bugger! Yeah, so I've chucked in some rust converter in there, and I've got some primer for when that's dry, but that won't be till tomorrow, so I shall leave that for now. Come back, innit? Right, so that rust treatment in there, so only rust has gone black and the stuff's done its job. So next thing, I'll chuck a little bit of primer on that, and then I can put the patch in, which will be lovely, isn't it? Right, so that's just primer. I'll chuck a bit of that on there, and it works every day. Lovely, and then I'll let that dry. Now this bit, I'm going to punch some holes all the way down the edge so that you spot weld it on. And I've got my little gizmo here, which is it's a hole puncher. It's also it can put a little step in the sheet steel. Like when you do patch repairs, you can put a step in it so you can cut it out and pop it in. But anyway, I'll use this bleeding thing here. Chuck a few spot welds, every 50 odd so mil. Bit sticky. Straighten it down, making it go a bit wibbly wobbly, but it'll be alright. And once I've done this, I'll just chuck a little bit of primer on the bare steel bits of this. It's coated in something anyway, it's like it won't rust, only where I've made the holes through and what have you, so we'll just chuck a little bit of paint on there, and obviously where I've shrunk it and stretched it. You can really notice a difference in the thickness of the steel where I've shrunk it. It's obviously just bunched it all together, bleeding thick. That'll do. And then I'll just straighten that edge out again a little bit. I'll go and smash it about on the vise a little bit. And then that's pretty much ready to go in. Marvellous and shit. So I've just primed that bit as well on the back, just here and there. So I'll just let all this dry, otherwise when I start welding it, it'll fucking go up in flames, won't it? So I'll leave that there. The other thing I'm going to do is, I might use my MIG welder because it's quicker. TIG welding's nice, but this is, I've got no chance of distorting this up here anyway because it's like all double skin there. Only just down in this bottom corner I've got to take a bit of care. You just do little spots and she'll be mint. So I'm going to change the wire. So at the moment I've got 3 sorts of wire for me MIG, depending on what I'm doing. If I'm doing heavy crap like box section or whatever for a tiny house frame, I've got like 1 mil, and then I've got 0.8 for just general bits and bobs. But I've also bought myself some 0.6, which is better for bodywork because you don't have to get it as hot when it melts. So I'll change the roll in that in a minute and change the rollers, and then I can start tacking this bloody thing together, innit? And another thing, well, I just think of it, I've been watching Wheeler Dealers, Mike Brewer and that big tall geezer, and the other ones because they keep changing. But I was like going back through the years, like when they started, Mike Brewer was quite slim, and now obviously he looks quite chunky. But I reckon it's the cameras, because it's happened to me, because when I started doing this a couple of years ago, just farting around in the shed with me real cheap nasty camera, I look really slim, and all of a sudden I look fat. So I think I'm putting it down to my new Chinese camera. I don't know. So before I attack this bit, I'm just gonna, I've got that bit on the offcut, I'm just gonna stick that on there, which is earthed already, and I'm just gonna set the welder up so I don't melt it, balls it all up. So let's just see what I need first. looks pretty good already. I've just done a couple of spots there, got some good penetration at the back, so I reckon that'll do. If anything, I might have to turn it down a touch, but that is good. So now I shall clamp this on and try and get it in the right place. And shit. Right, I'm just going to chuck some tacks on here gently, try and get it all level. They don't take much. Pull that back down there. Adjusted. Get a little bit more tachometry. Very good. Some more moulding grips around here, hold it down a little bit. Pull the spot weld through. And some adjustment. Just manipulate that all the way across, just tacking it, pulling it in as I go, and we should be good. So a bit of twisting and a bit of jiggery pokery, I reckon. But yeah, I'll get this edge tacked up here first, and then I'll pull the other edge down to spot weld, and then I'll grind these off and then just tack between and just keep going round. But it looks good. Well, he's happy as a pig in shit with it, isn't it? I might have to just twist this a little bit to get it on. Put it together like that. That looks good. Get tack on that. So I'm going to continue doing that all the way around. What I'll do is I'll get this on and then I'll come back and grind. Right, so it's pretty much nearly all the way across. I'm just going to clamp this down so we can spot weld it. This in, and then once it's spot welded all around there, I can just fill in the gaps here and then grind it off and blend it in a little bit. What's happening there? I might have to tap that up a little bit. But anyway, she's looking good. It'll be a lovely repair. prop polish that is. Right, I'll finish it off and show you when it's done. Right, so it's pretty much all welded. I've got a couple of little pinholes to fill in and then finish off grinding it off, but most of it's done. Just got to grind up the spot welds on there, then take a little bit of that lip off, and then I'll try the glass in, just see if it's going to fit. But pretty much done. And then sandblast the fucking thing, see how many more holes is in it, but hopefully that's it. We hope, anyway. So just a bit of grinding up. Just got to trim that lip a little bit. It's got a couple of mil overhang, so I'll trim that off all the way along, and then just try the glass in, I suppose, see if it still fits. Right, so that's all nice and nice now. I'll go and get the glass and see if it fits in. Hopefully it does. We live in hope, don't we? Let's try it. Well, the window fits. So that's the result. All I've got to do now then is, and that's got a real dog old rubber in it, so this rubber's rock hard, but I cut most of the lip of it off, the return that holds it in, but yeah, it seems to go down alright and looks alright, so really, bit of filler in there to finish it off and whatever. Should be good, isn't it? But hopefully that's it. So next thing I'll bust out my sandblaster, turn the dirty great bastard compressor on, open the door up, take this outside on the stands and see if I can get some of this paint off. I don't know whether I'll go too hard out on here, although it's got a nice curve in it, so it probably won't distort anyway, and the rest of it should be fine, all the other bits. So I should do that then, innit? So there's a little bit of a close-up of it. There we be. So that's one patch panel from go to woe pretty much. So it's quite a technical one. It's got so many curves in it. So there was a bend there, a curve there, then another bend at the top. So it's a bit of a prick to make, but it's actually come out pretty good. So I'm quite pleased with that. Yeah, we'll get the sandblaster on the fucking thing. So I've just had to go with a sandblaster. And what I've discovered is that it makes the outside of my workshop like a bleeding beach and goes everywhere, so bollocks to that. I'm going to just use the wire brush, rotary wire brush on the drill, I think, to get all the awkward bits, and then use the DA with some heavier pads on, which I might have to go and get in a minute, but never mind, for the rest of it. And then I can chuck some primer on it, but yeah, I found one little tiny hole with a sandblaster, so I'll just stick a bit of weld in there. Other than that, looks all right, I think. So yeah, rotary wire brushes to go. might be a bit cleaner. So I'll give it a little bit of a crack on there. There's all, looks like some sort of sealant shit on it that they've used to try and put the glass in with before. We'll just see if this will get it off. It should do, because it's a bit of an animal. Coming off good, so once I've got rid of all that other crap, I'll just go around with the sander and get any surface rust off, but she looks good. It looks good, it does. Lovely. Over there a little bit more purchase on it. Lovely. Turn that round, get the other side. I'll throw that on the floor as well. Oops. Hallelujah, wasn't it?